Hi everybody out in my lovely Toddler Code community out there. All of you parents who are so involved and bringing up really the next generation and doing it with a sense of responsibility. So I'm always so happy to tune in with you guys live, and I'm about to try to get back on my live game ever since the holidays, and I had a birthday recently. Been a little off my live game with my out-of-town visitors, but I definitely do want to start doing this on a weekly, and I believe I'm picking Wednesdays. So yeah, just while people jump on here for a minute, and of course I always love it if you let me know that you're here. Hi, Chalisa. I'm sorry, I don't see that well, and I don't have my glasses on right now, but I do recognize you from the group, and it's just wonderful to have you here with me live. So if you're like Chalisa, go ahead and let me know that you're here. But also, if you're watching this video later, it really does help me if you put replay or make a comment or give me a question for future live videos. Okay, I've had a few technical difficulties, so I'm really excited that I got here right at 3 o'clock, and I do hope that some more people possibly jump on who got reminded by the emails. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and say who I am. So my name is Anna Ariel, and I have invented a signature system called the Toddler Code. And what made me able to feel confident enough to take on this great work is that I was trained by a woman named Jean Liedloff, who wrote a book called The Continuum Concept. So Chat GPT, I guess, considers me kind of a foremost expert due to my mentor in what I call evolutionary child rearing, or I call it like a human nature type of parenting. Or also there's a book out, the book, The Continuum Concept, my teacher wrote, came out in the 70s and was researched with her time with untouched tribal people in the 50s and 60s, so a long time ago. But we also have a book out recently called Hunt, Gather, Parent, and that resonates so well with the work of my teacher. And I feel like because of all my training with Jean, I'm also really quick to pick up and get the influences from these other great works that other people have come both before and after her and written about, which is basically about how to get back in touch with our human nature and how to use our human nature to make our lives easier, both as parents and for our children. So hi, Joanna, welcome. So happy to have you joining live. So those are some of the reasons why I feel uniquely qualified to teach on this topic. And the topic today is how validating, which is a very common component, what I see nowadays going on around me, of what I would call gentle parenting, which isn't necessarily one book, but it is kind of a movement of us parents and adults and people wanting to be kind to our children. And so what concerns me, and one of the reasons I've started my group, is to show parents the ways where they're the things that they are doing that they feel like are the most well-meaning things that they've thought about and felt into and feel like it's giving the very best to their children. But oftentimes some of these things are backfiring from my perspective. And the looks can be deceiving, and even your toddler's cues can be deceiving. For instance, something you'll always find me saying is, looks like they want what they want when they want it. But often they're usually wanting us to stand firm, clear, confident, and yes, even gentle. Yes, even gentle, but firm is also important so that they have a leader that they can look up to. And I find that nowadays a lot of parents have lost this perspective of what being firm and then also firm and angry looks like versus being firm and gentle, which is really the traditional human way. So once again, I'm uniquely qualified to teach this stuff, and I also have a really unique perspective that I've been compelled to try to get out there, and that's what I'm doing with this group. So on to the main topic, because the one I just said, how it looks like your toddler wants what they want when they want it, that's a topic for another video, and I have talked on that. And also, as a quick aside, everybody, I do want to say I chose the word toddler, but it encompasses the ages for sure of 1 to 5, and could even, my current client has even a 7-year-old who she has had help with these philosophies and stuff. So don't let the word toddler, I did choose the word toddler intentionally, but that definitely would include preschoolers and sometimes even older children. So Actually, some of what I teach could even work in a parent or an adult to adult relationship, but it works differently. And the reason some of what I teach works so well is because the children have a radar out to for what we are teaching, for what I am teaching you parents to do syncs perfectly with what your child, through generations and generations upon generations of human history, have come to expect from their adults. And it's only in recent times that we've started doing things, and like I keep saying, well-intentioned. We are well-intentioned. The parents in my group are well-intentioned. I don't get the mean, angry, abusive parents. No. The parents of the Toddler Code are the best of parents around, in my honest opinion, but we've just gotten some signals mixed up, and it's easy to understand why. Because all around it, we're not really seeing the right things in our world to lead as examples, to lead us, to be examples for us adults and parents. So let me get started on today's topic, which is why validating their feelings can often be backfire, go in the other direction, and also create even maybe more upset and anger, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. So let me just look at my notes here really quickly. There's three main topics that I want to discuss under this umbrella. And so the first one would be why, number one, why this could be backfiring and why we don't want to validate their feelings, even though we want to respect them. So that's what I help with, because a parent who is validating their child's feelings in a case of upset, there could be times and places to validate feelings. It might be a really large topic. What I'm specifically talking about is your child is angry, upset. So let me just start with a story, which is a really easy one I think most parents can appreciate, which is you're about to serve dinner and all of a sudden your 3-year-old wants ice cream. And they become very upset about not having their ice cream. So here we go. So, and you guys tell me, Chalisa, I'm so sorry, I'm getting your name wrong. It's so horrible in here. I'm squinting to get it right. I need my little, here we go, folks. Here we go. Chalise, Ms. Forney, nice to see you here. Thank you so much. So, where I'm going with this, and Joanna, is that your little child is wanting ice cream right before dinner. And you're saying, no, sweetie. No, sweetie, we're about to have dinner soon, maybe after dinner or maybe not till tomorrow, whatever you and your family decide is correct in that moment. And then they proceed to have a really strong emotional reaction, what we could call a fit, we could call it a tantrum, we could call it a power struggle. They're trying to push you to get you to do what they want. That's what it looks like. And so keeping it on topic for this video, because there's so much I could say about these moments, you choose to say to your child, from what you've learned or what you've heard or what you've seen other parents do or what's been suggested to you perhaps by some people, is you say, oh, mama can see you're angry. You're very angry. And you might try to draw them out on what that feels like or get them to express themselves more. Maybe they say back to you, yes, I'm angry. Or maybe they keep yelling, screaming, whatever. And so my first point, why that, excuse me, you guys, I just want to get this really clear today. So the first point is that can make the emotions bigger and not stronger. So one of the reasons I'm not into validating is because we don't want to make their emotions bigger. And so drawing them out about their anger over a situation where, so what I'm trying to say is it's like a teaching moment where we should be showing them, or we could be showing them, no need to dwell in shoulds here. It's just what works, what's effective, and what the true meaning of gentle is. In this case, I would say that it can easily make things worse because we're drawing out those angry emotions. We might not be encouraging them in our mind or in our thoughts of what we're trying to do, but the very fact of focusing on the kids and talking about those things is what can get those things like riled up more. And I'll give you an example of adult to adult is like someone comes to you and says, my boyfriend was so mean to you. And yes, I can see in an adult, you might calmly, in a nonviolent communication way, you might be, oh, your boyfriend wasn't nice to you. And yes, my boyfriend, and do you have a need and feelings and stuff like that. But we're adults. And with the child, what they're looking at, and this is point number 2, is by drawing them out on an emotion that by anyone's book is an overreactive emotion from emotionally immature human being. They're upset that they can't have the ice cream. Maybe they don't understand all the reasons why. And we're saying no as the adults, and they're pushing us. But what are they pushing us to do. So what we are doing, and I'm sorry if I'm getting a little muddy here, but I'll bring it all around for sure. When we continue to talk about their emotions, A, we can make it bigger for them, and B, we're confusing them because instinctively they're looking to us to be the knowers and the doers. So when we stop everything and center on them, no ice cream, not right now. I want ice cream. And maybe they begin to throw something, or maybe they begin to, as could be happening, hit you or pinch you or something. Maybe they just scream or make noise. There's all varieties of reactions that you could or could not have, including a reaction from a toddler who takes that information and happily goes about their day without getting all upset. And my speculation is those toddlers are doing that because they know that they can't push you, the ones who are just being moving on with their day. They know that mama's not going to change her mind. But here's where one of my third points here. So one is we're talking about an emotion that's not the appropriate emotion. Two, we're turning the whole atmosphere to focus on them. And what I'm trying to say is their deepest need is to see us doing visible, clear things without turning all the attention onto them. So we in modern society are thinking that the toddlers all the time want our attention, want our focus, that we have to now adjust our entire lives and lifestyle. We have to draw them out if they even are upset about a tiny, slight of not getting ice cream, which is, very small, that we're actually in ways with this validating their feelings what I'm trying to say is making a bigger thing out of a smaller thing. All these things are making a bigger thing out of a smaller thing. So what is the best thing we can do? Is we can keep making our dinner. We can keep doing whatever we're doing, okay? And give them something visible to look at. But mostly the important thing here is your calm confidence, your sense that you're doing the right thing, your understanding that they're just compassionately. And that's the thing. A lot of times we are going back and forth with permissive, draw them out on their feelings, validate this, turn our whole life upside down. Oh, you want ice cream for dinner? Okay, the whole family's gonna have ice cream then. These are some extremes, but possible that a lot of parents are doing this out of respect. And that's why this topic, you guys, I'm not sure if I'm doing, these are really deep topics, and in some ways they're not suited for a 15-minute, 20-minute live type of thing, because I'm introducing lots of topics. But I do encourage you all to continue to listen, because, I need to make these topics for a specific, conversation that we're having. But the more you watch on the different topics, they all kind of come around to the same sort of philosophy, which is a form of what I call human nature parenting, or paying attention to, I call it natural child rearing is another thing that I call it. And I used to call it original innocence, because this sort of system, it's not religious. I don't come at it from a religious perspective when I say original innocence, but I bring it up from a perspective of that in modern life, we are often going between modern, involved, and really well-meaning parents like yourselves. Like I guarantee both Chalise and also Joanna, who are with me here today live, but also any of you who come after. I know I don't even have to meet you guys. I know how excellent of a parent you are. I know that you are the very best of parents by the very nature that you're attracted to a group like this to learn how to make your lives better and to learn how to make your toddlers' lives better. And so what I am saying right now is that to go about what you were doing already, to not let their little fit or fuss knock you off base, to not draw them out more and more on how they feel so angry to not get the ice cream, or they feel sad to not get the ice cream, or mama knows how upset you are, sweetie. I get it. It is rough to not be able to have ice cream right before dinner. I get it, and, but really we want to create resilience in our children. Sometimes I think I could call this system, resilient parenting, or how to raise a resilient child. And so what I want to close with here is that, yes, this is what I do in my coaching, you guys. If you guys have, let's just say the sweetest way I hear a lot of parents say it is a strong-willed child, okay? All the way out to what I sometimes call a tiny tyrant. Like, I guarantee you that I work with, in my coaching practice, I work with the most difficult of situations. I've worked with parents who their child is getting kicked out of preschool, you know what I mean? Expelled. Or really dangerous situations with physical things with their siblings and or even their parents. And here we are with this most well-meaning parent who is just, in a way, we are, and I'll call myself on this too. We're all in this together. It's nobody's fault at this point. It's a societal problem. But we are literally often making things worse. And one of the reasons we are is because we operate on this permissive, that's what I call it, permissive, punish seesaw. And so what I'm offering is that we can stand stronger, firmer, and more confident as parents, as adults, and respect our children even more by being an example and not turning the whole focus onto them and not validating feelings that really aren't the right feelings, to be validated. That's what I mean. A friend of theirs got really hurt. A grandparent, God forbid, knock on wood, a grandparent passes away. I'm not saying to never discuss feelings with your child. That is certainly not what I'm saying. But I'm talking about when you're getting a behavior that isn't optimum, that doesn't show resilience from your child, that isn't your child being the bigger person, that we all want our kids to be. We want our kids to be kind. We don't necessarily want children who are always going to run to the front of the line, who are short. Now, those children are also going to grow up and be beautiful people. The work I do is not coming from a judgmental space, but I'm saying let's also make sure that while we encourage their intelligence and we encourage their me first and their go get them and compete and competitive nature, but that we're also really helping them with teamwork and being on team family, and that the whole world doesn't revolve around them. That's going to make them stronger, happier humans. And in essence, my work is about helping parents understand that childhood is about training to be an adult. It's a natural thing inbuilt in humanity that we are in training. And so we want to give them an idea that, validating their feelings over not getting ice cream right before dinner, maybe even they had it earlier that day and maybe they're about to get it after dinner, is not that big of a deal. Okay. And so what I was going to say, and I think I interrupted my own self here, but is that in my practice, I work with really difficult situations, and I have many techniques based on human nature that will help getting even the most disobeying or, defiant toddler. And why are we worried about this? We're worried about this because this can be dangerous. This can be unhealthy for the child. We're not just wanting to cure defiance for our own sake. We're wanting it to create a happy home life. So anyway, counseling with me, you will get because I can hear some of you in your mind saying, well, then he threw the thing and I kept working on making my soup and I didn't pay him much attention or validate his feelings, and it still didn't go well. So yes, I have, more to offer than I can offer on a free live like this, but I give free consultations, and you guys are welcome to jump on. 15 minutes only to start with. There's nothing to buy. We just get on and see if we might be a good fit to work together. You get to know about what I offer, who I am. I get to meet you, learn a little about your child, and make sure that you do have a common place, because I don't work with trauma directly. And, I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm not a specialist in ADHD, but what I see all over the place is really common. And hey, Neha, thank you so much for coming live. What I work with is what I call the common problems of toddlerhood that we are facing in our society. And I work with easy, simple, almost effortless techniques. Sometimes they're hard because they're about changing your habits, moms or dads. We don't change the child, we just change ourselves. And it's amazing how things clear up effortlessly once we do that. So I hope this live was good. Like I said, I didn't get to prepare quite as much as I wanted to, but this is my way of giving back these lives. I'm looking forward to showing up here, I believe Wednesday around between 2 and 3. Me and my assistant haven't totally set it up yet. Sometime between 2 and 3 on Wednesdays. I'm hoping that, Maui time. That's where I live, on Maui. And so that is right now, it's 5 o'clock in California and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And I think we're going to do that, or more or less. And I'm so glad I had the 3 of you joining me live. And I do want to shout out to my lovely assistant, Kat Salonga. She is from the Philippines, and maybe some of you had a chance to interact. She sometimes sets up my appointments with me, or might jump into your inbox sometimes as well. But I just love her to death, and I could not do the Toddler Code without her. So thank you so much, Kat. I wanted to do a special shout out. She's in the background even right now. And I would want to say to Talise and Joanna and Neha, I would love some questions. So next week's live, I would really like a Q&A. I'm totally open to having someone come on live with me, or also just drop your questions. We're gonna, I think earlier in the week, we're gonna put drop your questions for next week's live. I'm really wanting to get a mom on here live, or at least take a question from someone in this group and kind of unravel it from the Toddler Code perspective next week. So I'm not picking a topic, moms. So no pressure, you 3, but I'd love it. I'd love to hear what you got going on. And thanks so much. Thanks so much for being a part of the Toddler Code, and thanks for being the best parents possible. I acknowledge each and every one of you now watching this video, who might watch this video in the future. It is not easy raising children in today's world and being a loving parent and a caring parent. And as was the topic, validating feelings is a gentle parent concept. And what I'm just trying to do with the Toddler Code is reframe some of these things that are maybe more mental constructs and less what we have, what I say inside our very, both adults and children and babies. We actually, like the way our waterproof skin is an expectation of rain. There's a way that we also have these emotional cues and things that we're expecting. So there's certain things your children are expecting you as adults to do, and it actually messes with their little brains if we do it differently. And that's what creates kind of these cross signals where we feel like our children are actually our enemies. No offense, moms. I know that's a secret thought of yours and you would never express it. And maybe none of the three of you or the people watching ever have those thoughts, but I guarantee you, I'm out in the fields all the time with my own clients and with what I see in the Facebook groups I'm involved in, and etc., that there's some rough situations going on out there, and I can help. And I'm so honored, and I'm so happy to be able to offer this live to everybody today. So thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of your day or evening, and we will see you soon.